There's something almost hypnotic about royal scandals. What makes this particular story so compelling is not just the rumor itself, but how easily it was believed, how quickly it spread, and how conveniently it fit into a narrative already waiting to be told. In a world where every detail is scrutinized, and every gesture carries weight, even the smallest illusion can take on a life of its own. Yet, as the dust begins to settle, deeper questions start to emerge. Who benefits from the confusion? Who controls the narrative? You know, the things that I find fascinating about the royal type of scandals, if you like, are the fact that a lot of people fall for certain things. This is something that a lot of the friends are aware of. I'm not sure if you noticed that particular news about an American broadcaster who mistakenly believed that this particular picture was actually a picture of the genuine Lily beside Meghan Markle. I don't know if you saw that particular story. Even if they wanted to make it a little less shine for His Majesty the King and Queen Camilla, who is the Queen Consort in the United States of America, there is no way, in my opinion, that Meghan Markle would be willing to throw away that potential £1 million photograph in order to simply put it out there. I don't know about you, but I don't think it's possible that they would do that. However, despite this, that would be the kind of background that the story would have. At this specific juncture, I am unable to identify any evidence showing where it originated from in the first place. Moreover, I have seen photographs that are similar to that in the past, and we would know, since we are educated on this channel, that this is not at all genuine. On the other hand, this turned into a narrative. This is where things start to become really fascinating because, as many of you are aware, His Majesty the King spends his annual vacation in Balmoral and occasionally travels to Sandringham. This occurs at various intervals during the year. And as you also know, his youngest son, that's right, the former royal known as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, decided quite publicly that he wouldn't mind spending some time with his father, dangling the possibility for his father eventually to meet his children. The picture is clear to you. That would be Lily, Betty, and Archie, of course. You are aware that Markle is adamant on them having their prefix now titles, and she even used them while she was traveling in Australia and utilizing them. Because of this, we will become accustomed to making use of them in the public domain. But of course, there were all these rumors going around that Meghan Markle had sold the public domain and that she was ensuring that those particular kid was protected from being used by anyone. Certainly not while she is here, as you well understand. The Prince of Wales, His Royal Highness Prince William, deserves praise once more since, according to the information that I have gathered from my sources, he was actually not too much against a prospective visit, although he did, of course, have a few terms and conditions attached to it. In a positive note, we would like to express our gratitude to the United States of America for the kind and welcoming manner in which they have treated our British royal family. I get the impression that everything is going extremely well, and a great number of people in this area appreciated the extremely patriotic address that was delivered by Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. Highly favorable to our position. When Harry made the decision to do this, it was very clear that he had not previously embarked on such a disastrous journey to Australia with Meghan Markle, who had previously worked as a cable television actress. However, things began to fall apart from the moment they touched down on the ground. In addition, she should forget about her best life, the fact that there were not a lot of people there, and anything else of the like. Basically, it was a complete and utter failure in every way. And I would never wish that upon anyone else. That is something that I continually bring up. On the other hand, it is merely a poor thought. It is in no way appealing to the eye. The sound of it is not very appealing. After that, there is Harry, who is, of course, doing everything in his power to reintegrate himself into the benevolent way of life that he is accustomed to. When it comes to this, things start to get extremely interesting. In accordance with this reputable source, Prince William is aware that there would be conditions attached to the agreement. However, the one thing that he has never forgotten is the fact that Meghan Markle boasted before the Cut magazine in New York City that she had never been asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. This is something that he has never forgotten. However, this is not exactly accurate because there is a sort of code of conduct that those who work inside the British monarchy are expected to follow. It is for this reason that she has never truly spoken out of turn, especially when it comes to Sarah Ferguson, the disgraced Duchess of York. In spite of the fact that she may have backed her guy, which some people may argue is very incorrect, she never spoke harshly about the royal family. Meghan made it abundantly evident that she had not signed a non-disclosure agreement, and as a result, she was virtually boasting that she could do whatever she pleased. Let me tell you, friends, the bottom line is that this is what this fantastic source, which is a brilliant source, has to say about the situation. That certainly, if Meghan and Harry desired to spend some time in the United Kingdom during the summer, they would be able to do so, provided that they were invited to do so by His Majesty the King. Furthermore, all of this is contingent upon whether or if the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, actually provides Harry with the desired level of security that he desires. A non-disclosure agreement, NDA, would need to be signed in order to fulfill various conditions, one of which is that there are specific restrictions present. The removal of the phone would take place. In addition to this, His Majesty the King does not favor having anyone in his immediate area who is in possession of a mobile phone. Not only does he despise the fact that he can hear the buzzing sounds of messages, but he also despises it when it goes off in the middle of a discussion. In his opinion, this is completely invasive. As a result, the phones would be confiscated, right? There would be no photographs, and of course, there would be no discussions that were recorded. What it really is like pushing extremely hard down, because what this is effectively saying is that Prince William is saying to the King, well, absolutely, we can invite them, but you have to protect yourself. This is what it is. The fact that his father is going through his own illness and all of that kind of stuff is something that he wants to protect. Furthermore, in my opinion, it is only natural that someone like Meghan would not be able to refrain from uttering a few witty remarks. Having said that, I am of the opinion that this will never take place, friends, due to the fact that she would not be willing to give up her cell phone. And also, let's not forget this, even if she wanted to do that, and I'm sure Harry wants to do it as well, it won't happen because, in the end, she wouldn't be allowed to talk about it. Let's not forget this. On the other hand, you wouldn't be able to truly relax since you wouldn't be able to trust them, even though they might be able to indulge in the joy of finally having an invitation, and Harry might be interested in it. As a result, the inclusion of these conditions within the agreement by William practically makes it a win-win situation for everyone involved. Therefore, William and the King won't have to go through the trouble of having to deal with her absence. Now you understand how this operates.